Good morning. Welcome back to the Retired Guy's Garage. So, we've got a few things we need to get done on this before the next trip. Miss Carla had this down in Forsyth for a work trip down at the KOA down there, and everything worked fine. But got it back here, plugged it into the garage, into our dedicated 50 amp outlet on the garage there. And I've got no 110 power, so I've got to figure out what's going on with that. Got a couple other things need to do. Got some light bulbs I need to replace on these floodlights outside on the side here, so those are going to need to be replaced. Got an air conditioner up top that's not working. It's a 42-foot unit, so it's got three air conditioners on it. So the one in the back over the garage doesn't want to start. Generally, that's a pretty simple fix. It's probably going to need a capacitor, but there's several different ones it could be. So I've got to get up on the roof and get the cover taken off, find out which one it needs. So that's another project we need to get done. And last but not least, we've got a couple of new tires. A couple of tires coming today. I got a couple of tires got some bad spots in them. So I'm going to need to change out some tires on the rear axle of this. So that's what we got going on. But first and foremost, we got to figure out why we don't have any power inside. Carla suggested, and it was actually my thought as well, that hey, maybe there's something wrong with the outlet since it was working in Forsyth just fine. Got it home, it's not working. Well, maybe there's something wrong with the 50 amp outlet on the garage, but I tested it. I've got 110 on both legs, so that's definitely not the issue. So we're gonna have to dig into it and find out where we're losing power. This is a totally separate problem from the converter. That was the fact that we had 110, but we just didn't have any charging 12-volt power in there, and it kept killing the battery. So totally different problem. But we're gonna have to dig into it and find out, because we're gonna be up in Dillard at Willow Valley RV Resort for the 4th of July from the 3rd from Wednesday to Sunday, I think we're leaving. So we got to get this thing fixed. I got to get this thing fixed, find out what's going on with it, and but certainly can't camp without any 110 power. So that's first and foremost. Then probably going to climb up on the roof after I figure out where we're losing power, and get the cover off that AC unit. New tires should be here today. Ordered them from the old Amazon website, so they should be here today, and I'll run them over the tire store. Boy, I've really got to get a tire changer. I've really got to get a tire machine, even if it's maybe even a Coates 4040. Hey, if anybody knows anybody who's selling a reasonably priced Coates 4040, or even a rim clamp machine, if you got to know somebody, not too far from Atlanta, Georgia area, I'd be happy to talk to them because I really need one. But anyway, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this 110 power. And then the final thing is, as you can see behind me, we seem to have lost the door to the hot water heater on the way down to Forsyth. So got that ordered. However, that's not going to be here before the trip, so we'll have to do without that for this trip. But that's all right. Well, it doesn't affect operation at all. So, but anyway, like I said, without any further ado, let's find out where we're losing power. Let's get this thing plugged in and find out where we're losing power. Stick with me. I'll be right back. So, like I started to explain earlier, I've got a dedicated 50 amp circuit that only powers the RV when it's sitting here. Normally it's sitting next to the garage, but for our purposes here, I wanted to keep it out of the mud for one thing, and try to keep it a little clean for the trip. So spent more than a day and a half or so getting this thing washed up and cleaned up. So I wanted to kind of keep it that way. So if I keep it out of the mud, it'll keep the mud from splashing up on it. Because we finally got some rain. Finally. My goodness, it's been a while. And of course, now all that the rain has done is, made it humid as all get out. So anyway, and got some new microphones. Kind of like them. The El Cheapo ones from Amazon. They were $12, $14 I think I paid for them, and man, I'll tell you, they work great. Little ones that clipped on my shirt. But these are a little bit fancier, and I think the sound quality's a whole bunch better. Anyway, so this is a dedicated 50 amp circuit. All right, so let's get this thing plugged in. and I did not hear the microwave beep, so I'm assuming we still don't have power. So I think we can safely go on some assumptions. We can assume the cord is good because it worked fine in Forsyth. What may have happened is a couple of different things may have happened. May have a loose wire on the plug inside the camper. May actually have, maybe the main breaker went bad. I don't know yet. But those are a couple of options, a couple of possibilities, I should say. And that's going to be where we're going to start. So, because I think, like I said, I think we can assume that the plug is good and the cord is good. So let's get inside and take a look at that breaker and see if we've got power in there. Stick with me. All right, so let me spin you around here real quick. Obviously, microwave is not on, so we still do not have 110 power. And down below here, let me flip you on down here so you can see what I'm talking about. You see those two black covers right here. This is all the 12 volt power, and this is all the 110 power. So we have a main breaker, main 50 amp breaker. Turn that off. Try and reset it. That did absolutely nothing. So we still have nothing. And what I'm going to do next is where the outlet is, where the short power hooks up on the side of the camper there. That is actually right underneath the stove here. So I'm going to pull this bottom drawer out. I'm going to take a look at the back side of that plug and see what that looks like visually. I'm not going to pull it out or anything right now. What I am probably going to do is go ahead and pull the cover off this breaker box, breaker panel, and start checking for power there to see if there's anything up to the breaker. Obviously, if there's no power to the breaker, there's not going to be any power anywhere else. So I'm going to visually take a look at that wiring going up to the shore power plug on the side of the camper, and then pull the cover off the breaker panel and try. I'm going to check some power there, see what we got there, if anything. So that's where we're started. That's where we're going to start. Really bad part about this is it's hot and it's humid, and I have no air conditioning, so it's going to be a hot and sweaty day. Can't wait. Should be fun. Not really. And I can't get the slides out either. So yeah, should be fun. Anyway, but yep. Hopefully you'll learn something with this. Like I said, generally, you know, people don't think campers have, you know, both 12 volt and 110 power, but they do. That's part of what the converter does. But let's get in here and let's get this drawer out, take a look at it. I'm gonna have to move these ottomans out of the way so I can got some room to work. And let's get into it. All right, so I have to pop this panel off so I can get this 50 amp breaker out and take a look and see if we got power someplace. So just 4 screws that holds this plastic cover on. All right, let's see what we got. Well, don't see anything loose. Everything appears to be tight. That all looks good, but we're going to have to check to see if we've got some power here, and that's going to be where we start. So the wire that comes in from underneath this, that comes in from the shore power, runs behind here underneath the fridge and comes right into here. So let's see if we've got any power here, and then that's going to be where we start. So anyway, all right. Well, stick with me. Let me go grab my voltmeter and let's start checking some voltages and see what we got. So let's see what we got. Check both legs, because remember this is a 50 amp circuit, so I should have 110 at each one of these legs. Okay, so 120. Yep. Yep, so I do. All right, so I've got power to there. So, all right, so gotta have a break in the power somewhere else, which means I'm gonna have to clear out that basement storage and find out where this goes from here, which is, I think, to that big black box under there. And let's see if maybe that's the problem. Yay. Okay, let's all right, gonna have to clear out the basement storage and see if we got power under there. Stick with me. Hey everybody, welcome back to Retired Guy's Garage. Okay, so y'all know I've been working, we've got an issue with the electrical system, the 110 volt electrical system in the camper here, and got started on it yesterday, or the other day. It's actually been a couple of days now. Listen, I'm here to tell you, there are just sometimes, and unfortunately this has turned into one of those times, where you've got to call an expert. Okay, in my bio, when I started the channel, I said I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Well, this is one of those times where I just don't know what's wrong with it. And believe you me, there is nothing wrong with admitting that. I'll be straight with y'all every time. I'll never BS anybody. And this is one of those times where I just don't know where to go with it. So I'll kind of try to briefly explain what's going on with it. A couple of weeks ago, when we had the camper plugged up, Carla came in and said, "Hey, look, the fridge isn't working." So I came out. Well, the fridge isn't working because there's no, the battery was stone dead because the charger wasn't working, and there was no power inside the camper. There was no 110 volts inside the camper. So wiggled the shore power around a little bit, came back on. We replaced the converter, and everything was fine. But when that happened, you can see behind me where the television cabinet is. Notice something that's never good with any type of vehicle, house, or anything like that. When I came back in, I noticed there was a little bit of smoke coming out of there. So, with that being said, after I plugged it back in, everything was fine, had no issues, everything was working perfectly, new converter was in, and had no problems whatsoever. Carla took it down to Forsyth. She was, like I said, she lived in it for a week. It's July in Atlanta, so it's hot. I mean, we're closing in on triple digits almost every day, 95, 96, 97 degrees almost every day. So she had it down there, had, one or two of the air conditioning units running almost 24/7 to keep the inside of the RV cool. Had no issues with it. Well, as soon as I got it back here, that's when all the problems started. Got it back to the house, went to plug it in, and nothing. So, what has happened? What has got me to this point where I'm saying it's time to call somebody that knows more about this than I do? Those of you that are not familiar with household electrical current and outlets and such. Look, your household current, obviously, most folks know, runs on 120 volts. Because this is a 50 amp circuit incoming shore power line, there are two 110 volt legs coming into the camper, which most people would say, well, that would make 220 or 240 volts. But it splits down in the breaker box down below the refrigerator there, next to the refrigerator. It splits down and is only supposed to provide 110 volts, 120 volts to your outlets. Well, so there are 3 wires in most current residential wiring. Older houses weren't grounded. We won't get into that. But the 3 wires you have a hot, you have a common wire, and you have a ground. Okay, your hot and common are the 2 prongs, rectangular prongs up on the top, whichever way you look at it. And your ground is the round prong underneath the other 2. Your hot wire should have 120 volts, somewhere thereabouts. Common wire should have no volts. And clearly your ground wire should have no volts. So in checking the outlets in the RV, I have 110 volts on both legs of the outlet. So both my hot and my common wires both have 110 volts. So what that's telling me, and I'll get to who I called about this here in just a minute, because he's one of the best, if not the best, in the area. So when I called him just to verify what I was seeing, he ran me through a few things, some testing and voltage checks, all the way from my 50 amp outlet on the garage wall all the way into the circuit panel and out to the outlets. And when we got out to the outlets, and he said, well, 110 volts on 120 volts on both legs, common and hot, that's bad. I think, and I have very limited knowledge of electrical as well, so I'm not trying to make anybody feel inadequate or anything like that, but my knowledge of electrical is very limited. And it's very confusing how I can have 120 volt legs coming into the RV, but only have 110 at the outlets. Very confusing. He explained it to me, and I still don't really understand it. But apparently all the magic happens at the circuit panel, and the circuit panel breaks down the legs so that it's not supposed to supply 120 or more than 120 volts to the outlet. So what has happened is, somewhere in this RV, and if I had to guess, and this is just a guess at best, okay, probably back there somewhere, something has happened where the hot, the wire that's supposed to have 120 volts, and the common, which is not supposed to have 120 volts, have rubbed together or been chewed. Critters in an RV is not unusual. They sit for long periods of time, so it happens. And what has happened is, I suspect, is that the hot and the common are fused together someplace, touching each other, someplace in that area back there somewhere. And after talking with Pete, he concurred. He said the same thing. He said, you've got a hot and a common fused together somewhere, and that's not supposed to be. So what we are going to do, I've taken the 2 tires off that needed to be replaced, taken them, dropped them off at the tire shop, getting those taken care of. I'm going to rotate those into the middle axle, so I'm going to put the new ones on the middle axle. And like I said, when I have a problem with this thing that I can't, that's beyond my capabilities, and let's face it, everybody has their limit, right? Well, I've reached my limit on what I can do to try and diagnose this problem. So after Pete and I went through this yesterday on the phone, he said, look, I've got an RV sitting here that I'm finishing up an air conditioner install on right now. He said, I'm going to call you tomorrow, which would be today, and I'm going to have you bring that thing down here. He said, you and I together will figure it out. So Pete Hilton, RV technician extraordinaire. He's been an RV technician for all of his life. And he is retired, but he does it on the side at his house down in Byron, which is about an hour from here. And that door's going to slam. Don't let it And so Pete Hilton, Mid-Georgia RV Repair, Mid-Georgia RV Service, can't remember, it's one of the two. He is amazing. As soon as I get the tires picked up from the tire shop, get them back on, I'm going to get hooked up to this thing, get the slides in, and I'm going to haul ass down to Byron with it as soon as he calls and he's ready for it. And hopefully between him and I, we'll be able to work our way through this and get this fixed. Our time is running short. I'm not sure how far, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make this 4th of July trip or not. I really don't know. I would say it's about 50-50 right now, but we're going to have a real miracle down in Byron between the two of us to be able to get this thing, find out where those wires are shorted together. So keep your fingers crossed, and I will keep you posted. Obviously, I'll take you along with me down there, as long as it's okay with Pete. Pete does not have a YouTube channel, but he is on Facebook, and he is one of the best when it comes to RV repair. This RV several years ago needed a new roof. It was probably, it's an 08, so this was probably 2020, I guess. So it was, it was 12 years old, and needed a new roof. And we had some other work done to it while it was there. We had some hydraulic rams repaired on the slide outs while it was there, and we had him replace the air conditioning unit in the bedroom, and he moved the one that was in the bedroom back to the garage. So we now have the coach has 3 air conditioners. So he is the best of the best, without a doubt. And if there's anybody that can find out what's going on with this thing, he can. And I am not ashamed to admit that I have called him for help, and he has graciously accepted the challenge to try and get this thing figured out. So I'll keep you posted. Please stick with me. We still have a few other things we're going to do. I doubt I'm going to be able to get up on the roof of this thing and get that other air conditioner fixed before this trip. That's going to have to wait. We've got other pressing matters to worry about. But we'll at least get the tires on. I know the door for the new door for the hot water heater is coming today early, which is great. It's going to be here in time if we do end up being able to go. So please stick with me. I appreciate you watching as always, and I will see you down in Byron. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Retired Guys Garage. So we are finished, I guess you could call it. I don't know. However you want to look at it, the RV's fixed. So what ended up happening was, in the shore power line, the big 50 amp cable that feeds all the power to the coach itself, plugs in the side, is where the problem was. There was a loose wire in that plug, not the plug on the coach side, but the plug on the plug side. Loose wire. Huge shout out to Pete Hilton from Mid-Georgia RV. Within hour and a half or so, he had it diagnosed, fixed, and back on the road. He did all his checks. Electrically, everything seems to be working fine. We ran the main air conditioner for a good while just to check amperages on that. Everything was fine. He even went so far as I happened to mention that while we were talking and working along, that the air conditioning unit in the garage was not working. I said I assumed it was a bad capacitor, but I didn't know. I hadn't tested anything. And he said, "Well, hey, you're already here. Let's get up on the roof and let's take a look at it." So sure enough, he did, and boy, I'll tell you, I'll post a picture of it. But the capacitor was actually melted. So He put a new capacitor. I don't even know if he put a new one, used one. I don't know. I don't care, but it's working. So I'm thrilled. Unfortunately, we had to go ahead and cancel our reservations for the 4th. Hated to do it, but the folks over up at Willow Valley RV Resort up in Dillard, they've always been so good, so good to us in our trips, and been such great hosts when we've been there that I just didn't want to leave them hanging any longer than I had to. So unfortunately, I did call yesterday afternoon and cancel the reservation. And in their gracious style, they understood our situation and got us taken care of. So huge shout out to Willow Valley RV Resort, Donna and Sam, the owners up there, great people. Claire in the office, Brett in the office, always so nice and so accommodating. Great folks up there. If you ever get a chance, like I said, Willow Valley RV Resort up in Dillard, Georgia. It's right at the Georgia-North Carolina state line, about 2 or 3 miles from the North Carolina state line up in Dillard. So beautiful resort. Great amenities, great people. Like I said, you won't find more gracious hosts anywhere. Matter of fact, since we weren't able to make it up there with the RV, we're going to go up to Dillard on Friday night, spend the night up there. Actually, we're going up Friday morning to visit with our friends Wayne and Katie, and we're going to spend the day up there, and then we've actually got a hotel room right there in Dillard. We're going to spend the night at a hotel and just kind of get at least one night away to be able to at least get away for a little bit anyway. But like I said, spoke with Claire actually this afternoon on my way back from Byron to see if there was a slim possibility that they'd not given our site away yet, but they had. And but she did say, she said, now that I know your RV's fixed, if I get a cancellation or a no-show, you'll be my first call, and we'd love to have you. So again, huge shout out to Willow Valley. You just won't find it. You just won't find a more gracious owners and gracious hosts. They're wonderful folks up there. So with that being said, I've gotten everything fixed that I wanted to. I've gotten the new tires on. Thanks to Pete Hilton again. He got that rear air conditioner fixed, repaired that I wanted to get fixed. And now we've got the power situation fixed. Now comes the task of putting everything back in where it belongs, because the coach is a disaster. Luckily, after Pete got the wiring fixed and we got plugged back in again, I thought for sure that when we got plugged back in that that brand new power converter that I put in was going to be just absolutely smoked. Luckily, it is still working. We were so fortunate not to lose, to the best of my knowledge, with double the amount of voltage coming into the coach that should have been. It does not appear that we've lost any of the electronics. So, televisions that were plugged in, the microwave was plugged in, power converter was plugged in, and it appears everything seems to be working. So, very fortunate. But what we are going to do when we get up to Willow Valley, we're going to check with Sam and Donna and see if it's okay. We may interview them and take you for a walk around the campground, a little tour of the campground, the RV, the resort. Because, like I said, it's a beautiful place and great folks up there. So we'll do kind of a quasi review and maybe any amount of luck. I'd really like to get Sam and Donna, or Sam, or one or both of them on and talk to them about their wonderful resort up there. So yeah, but that'll be Friday. And that's what we're going to do up there. So, and with any amount of luck, maybe, fingers crossed, maybe, just maybe, they'll call us. Claire will call us today or tomorrow, and maybe they'll have a vacancy that we can sneak up there with the RV. That'd be great. It'd be great to spend time with Wayne and Katie and everybody. So, and the boys. So fingers crossed, and you as well. Keep your fingers crossed for us. But at the very least, we're going to get up there for an overnight anyway. So that is the latest update. Like I said earlier, there's no shame in asking for help if you're in over your head. And I was so frustrated with this and so aggravated that I was happy to take it somewhere and let somebody else take a look at it. Second set of eyes never hurts anything when you're aggravated with something or having, it's just, kicking your butt right around the corner and back. So no shame in asking for help, and that's exactly what I did. And like I said, thanks again to Pete Hilton down there in Mid Georgia RV. The best of the best when it comes to RV. There's no one better in Georgia and maybe the country. But he's wonderful and does a great job. And like I said, within about an hour and a half, he had it figured out and had power to the coach. And we were sitting talking about Social Security payments in the air conditioning. So, because the guy's getting old. It's getting to be that time. Closing in on that eligibility range. That eligibility age for Social Security. So, but anyway, thank you all very much for watching this. Again, I'll post another video up, as a review. We'll go up when we get up there. We'll review the campground up in Dillard. But thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you sticking with me. If you've been here this long, the two of you that have actually watched this, just kidding. And as always, I appreciate y'all so much for supporting the channel. I really enjoy doing this. Of course, I'm nowhere near being monetized and making money at this. I do this for the fun of it. And I really enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy my videos. I hope my passion comes out in these videos. So, as always, you can find me on social media networks, Instagram, Facebook, and right here on YouTube at The Retarded Guys Garage. Feel free to leave a comment, hit that like button, and most importantly, because YouTube analytics like that. They like those likes. So that helps me out a lot if you like it. And by all means, of course, leave a comment if you ever had this problem. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you may have, other things you may have checked that I didn't, obviously. So once again, appreciate y'all for watching. More than you'll ever know. And we will catch you on the next one. Y'all take care and be safe. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.